Hey guys, this is TayFlo, and you're listening to Casual Babble.
Welcome to Casual Babble.
Hey, it's your boy, BC Babble.
This conversation could get a little
Now, I'm
weird.
not trying to say that I'm a nerd, but we are definitely about to get our nerd on, so...
This is Casual Babble. Recording.
She's
The
red.
big green button turns very red. My goodness. Okay, I'm going to stretch it out a little bit. Shake it off a little bit. I want to relax in these chairs. I do, but Garrett, I don't like these chairs, Garrett.
Feedback.
And I think I told you, like, when I discussed the chairs with him the first time, he was like, yeah, man, there's something weird with them too. Like, sometimes if you're leaning back a certain way, at some point you'll just like find yourself on the floor.
Jeez.
That's not the vibe I'm going for,
Yeah,
man.
no, thank
like,
you.
I want to stay up here, and like, I know the metal reinforces, what is it, like enamel glass or something like that. But I just know my luck. The sharp part's going to be right where it breaks. And as I told Tracy Massey in her virgin years, that my kink is a bit more conservative than that, to be honest.
I think
Big package.
I know I'm being sneaky. I'm pretty sure that colored small package is not for him. So I hope he
Looks.
Yeah,
Before opening.
because I didn't get that was part of the mail that I didn't get to today.
The mail you didn't get. And I was asking you before, like, how, like, have you had too many instances where, I mean, you've talked about turnover sometimes with the offices here, but have you ever had too many instances where it's like here at J, but it's supposed to be like Camp North End or over at West?
Yeah, businesses.
With the mail?
Businesses that switch up. Like right now, there's somebody who lives in Wesley Village got an Amazon package, and it's like, how do you freaking tell Amazon, like, bro, you didn't look at the address right. Now
Right.
it's at this random location. This poor person's probably been like, where the heck is my package?
Right.
So I'm just going to literally like drive it over to the address because it's really close. But that happens all the time.
Man, and I was leaving one day after recording him. Amazon was out here looking for somebody. I'm like, dude, I'm the only one in the building, and I
Yeah.
do not have an office here.
You would think they would like get used to
Yeah.
office buildings and that it's not always going to be an easy like drop off situation.
Right.
I know. I feel like we need signage for everything.
Like, and they may have just like looked at like Sartuga, and
Yeah.
maybe Jay was the first one that popped up, but it's like, no,
That's not okay.
no, man.
They've got enough logistics in
They
that
really
company
do.
that you could figure out where these packages need to go.
Exactly.
It gives me anxiety because you think about important things that you buy and that are like being shipped everywhere. And I'm just like, is it going to make it? I don't really know. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe not. I mean, I see all this other stuff that gets brought to Hygge and I'm like, this was definitely not meant to be here.
Right.
So
Lord.
Anyways.
All right, well, welcome, you beautiful individual. It's BC Babbles, it's Casual Babble. Thank you for joining me today. It is the first time Taylor Florio's been in the studio with me.
That's right.
AKA TayFlo. She is not only one of the longest standing members of Hygge Coworking, but she is a recent add-on to their full-time group as head of programming. Miss Madam.
yes.
How you doing? How's
So
it been?
good.
How's the weekend been? It's Monday right now.
Yeah. Happy Monday.
Yes.
Whew. The weekend was really fun for me.
Good.
I went to a drag brunch.
Ooh.
It was a great time. I love drag brunches. They're just high energy. Everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Like never do you ever get in there and people are like, "Ugh, this is weird. This is annoying." Like everybody's just so happy and dancing and singing. I watched a little bit of the FC game. We won, so that's awesome. Yeah, got to do some yard work. I found 4 snakes in my backyard and threw them
Ooh.
over the fence to the other yard. That
What kind of snakes do you know?
I think they're like little brown snakes.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
they were small enough to where I didn't feel like
Threatened by them?
but I did, like one of them was a little large, so I chopped its head off with a stick.
No, okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. I get
But
the fear.
but I
get
saved
it.
like 4 other ones, so that's fine.
So the oh my god, I'm trying to remember those funny names for snakes. There's like danger noodle. There's like nope rope. I think the constrictors are like the nope ropes and the
I've
poisonous
never
ones.
heard of, like,
You've never heard
for
the funny animal
no.
names? Oh my god, there's like a video I can send you later. But yeah, I think like constrictors, like pythons, are called nope ropes.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
And then the like poisonous like pit viper ones are typically called danger noodles.
I love that. I'm going to teach my nieces that because
All
they live
these
in
new
Florida.
animal names are just, they get me every single time. But yeah, I am a snake fan. But yeah, I get the fear, because like a lot of people are like very protective of like spiders, and like I don't get that vibe. Like, and I heard earlier this month that we're supposed to be like seeing some kind of invasion of these like weird.
It's correct.
Not banana spiders, but there's something
They
akin, or they look similar.
Yes, they're like a mix between a garden spider and a banana spider.
Yeah.
And they're huge. And yeah, we're
I don't think they're like Australian huge, but like they're too big.
but like the size of your palm.
Yeah, that's too big.
Yeah.
That's too big.
Like if in Florida we had wolf spiders and like brown spiders, and those mofos would get like, I mean, huge, gigantic.
Yeah.
And they jump and they carry their babies on their backs. And
Yeah.
so if you kill them, then the babies go
everywhere.
It is arachnophobia IRL. It's horrible.
Like, and I'm the kind of person who can even like watch 8-Legged Freaks and laugh because
Yeah.
it's funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, the dog dies. I'm not a fan of that. But like in real life, I just like, there was a barn that I used to go to and help my friend out. She works at a set of stables. And I don't know why, but one night the party barn in the back was just full of, I guess, huntsman spiders or wolf spiders, something like that.
The big brown
And
furry ones.
Furry ones. And like, here's the thing. I can actually deal with a tarantula, like a legit tarantula. The slow moving ones are like fuzzy.
Yeah.
Cause like I can,
Like
in
Home
my
Alone
brain.
style?
Yeah. Like in my brain, I can akin that to a pet-ish type creature, but huntsman and wolf, I can't do that. And I think the worst moment with a spider I've ever experienced was when I just noticed one that was too big for my okay next to my foot. And I tried to pull a TayFlo with it, and I tried to just stomp it.
Yeah.
But its front legs were still out of my shoe, and they started to like striggle about.
Yeah.
I don't think I touched the floor on my way out of that barn. I cannot do it with spiders.
Yeah.
So, but I get you. I get the fear for sure. Like we had a big ass black snake, like a 4-footer, show up in our yard last summer. And we got chihuahuas, so it's like, oh, you gotta go.
I know. Well, and I wasn't even scared. I just was like, there are lots of these right now,
Yeah.
and they're just going to get bigger. So I'm going to throw them in my neighbor's yard because so for anybody who's judging me right now, the house next door to me is for sale. It's under contract, and no one's been living there for a long time.
Gotcha.
So most likely it's going to be like a demolition and rebuild anyways. So I'm like, the snakes can go over there and hang out for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there will probably be a construction zone. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad.
I was prepared for you to tell me a story about like a really bad neighbor that you feel like bad toward, like you want to get vengeance on, and I totally support that because I can be a petty asshole too.
I know. I don't know if I'd have the balls to do that unless I knew that there was no way that they could find out that it was me.
Right. Yeah. There's always that particular precaution there for sure. Yeah. Man. And yeah, today I took off because like I go to sleep at normal times, but I just knew that I needed one more day to recharge.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not going to be enough. I need to have taken more time, but got a big golf tournament coming up, so I can't take much time off at all. Because not only is there a whole bunch of like pre-event communications, I got to be on site for it too, and there will be a whole bunch of post-event communications that are all going to come from me too.
Yeah.
Fun in the Queen City.
What golf tournament?
It's
what's it called?
It'll be at Cedarwood on the 25th. It is the NAOP CRCBR annual spring golf tournament.
What a mouthful.
It's a one flight shebang. It was sold out like 2 or 3 days after we made the first official announcement.
Cool.
We got like all their sponsors are ready and they are prepared to go out there and see their sign where their sign's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of the scariest parts of my current job is like part of it's like ordering print and like making sure that not only do I have a poster for everybody, every sponsor, but like, is it their most up to date?
Yeah.
Like, I know that
that's their responsibility.
I would
to
think
give you
that
the
too,
graphic, yeah.
But I got to be the one to think, wait, is it their most up to date? Because they won't say anything, and this has happened recently too.
Yeah.
They won't say anything
Till like the day of.
until not even then, like weeks after a big event that we got like a lot of coverage at, and it'll come to me like, Brandon, you had the wrong logo on this roll-up banner. It's like, that's the only logo that I had.
Not my fault.
Not my fault, man. And then I've actually had other sponsors for one of my clients ask me to like make amendments to their logo. Like, no, like it's not my job to like alter the character of your entire brand, dude. Like you got to do that on your side and just send me what you want.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like I'll touch mine. Like my client's logo is fine. It's my client, but you're not my client. You're just sponsoring them. Take responsibility, please. Lord. But yeah, as I was saying before we started recording, I got a Interview today with Town Square. Super excited. Post sales like client retention, which sounds pretty fun. I think the final third interview is going to be Friday.
Nice.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
You have all week to stress about it.
I have, yeah, a week to stress about all that good stuff for sure. Well, let's jump into some business news here on Casual Babble. These will be via the Morning Brew morning newsletter. Not sponsored, but Morning Brew, I'm reaching out to you constantly. So let's talk about a potential dealership here. So the first thing that caught my mind is therapy is going viral. And this is talking about how, so there are at least four ways watching TikToks is damaging to mental health. It disrupts sleep patterns, packages validation, and likes and views, gives users random dopamine hits, and wreaks havoc on the body image, pretty much like any other form of social media. Now, this goes on to talk about how people turn to social media therapists sometimes to find like what'll fix whatever their current concerns are, or whatever their mental or emotional strifes are. And I'm just like, okay, that's like, I'm down for watching stuff that's therapeutic. Yeah. But I can't turn to like an influencer and be like, you're my therapist. Yep. Granted, therapy is very expensive. And I think there's gotta be, it can be expensive.
It can also be affordable.
So it depends on what's available to you, what you're willing to look into, whether or not it's in person or remote. I recall, do you ever watch Jubilee on YouTube? They like to do a lot of like taking people of opposite views and like putting them in like conversation and whatnot. Yeah. They actually did an episode on ASMR. And they brought in like 5 or 6 of like the biggest ASMR people on YouTube. And these people make like millions of views and they like live off of that content. And one of the questions in their episode was, is ASMR therapy? And they're all like, no, that needs to be a stigma or a stereotype that's got to be canceled.
It's like therapeutic.
It's therapeutic, which they all said.
Right.
For
but therapy, yeah.
It's not therapy. It's
agree.
not going to fix those like deeply rooted issues that are causing some serious pain in your life. You cannot turn to social media for that. You got to look at the professionals, people who got like the PhDs on the walls.
Yes.
Look for those certified by the professional board people. Okay?
I totally agree. Like, I think, this is like, I'm about to go on a tangent, but everybody on social media, all they need is like one quick video to get a lot of likes for them to feel like they know something.
Yeah.
And even if it's like a graphic designer who's like, hey, here's 5 tips on how to get started with Canva or whatever. Like that's obviously something they know and something they've dabbled in and they're educating, whatever. But like, you know, the more confident they get in the fact that people are listening to those tips, then it's like, oh, here's how you work-life balance. And it's like, okay, well, like, according to who? Right. And according to what? And like
where are the studies at?
What kind of credentials?
Who are you citing? Yeah.
Totally.
We got to avoid like, and that's such a weird skew too, to like go from like having likes and views certify you from a place that you actually have any info in, to the point where you allow that to skew you to some realm of education that you've never touched before.
Well, and I think people like tap out their creativity, and so they're like, well, what else can I put on my social? And it's like, oh, I'll just pretend like I'm a therapist and like tell people how to meditate. And it's just like, bro, no, or sis or whoever, like
Now, granted, and like even in the ASMR sphere, you've got like a lot of people who do like role plays, and not sexual sometimes, but like they'll do like a lot of them do doctors who perform cranial nerve exams on you. So it's about that personal attention, which is a trigger for ASMR.
Interesting.
But it's like, and they'll like be fully decked out. They'll have like a whole scene in their room that looks like an office. They'll have the coat. They'll have like the what's the thing that listens to your heartbeat? Stethoscope. They'll have like they'll put the latex gloves on and they'll do the whole shebang. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you like doctor, huh? You and your scrubs and whatnot. I like this, but they're not doctors.
Sure.
They're great
They're getting
performers.
into like character or
exactly.
something.
And like
interesting.
I've never not been surprised by how much work they will put into their sets, to be certain. Like there's one French one that a lady that I watch, and she creates this whole like, she does like a retro French steampunk scenes, which are awesome, like steampunk 1700s optometrist type stuff. It's really cool. But yeah, you can't eschew real world help.
Yes, and I would say,
performers.
do you produce? Oh my God, do you go to a therapist or have you done counseling before?
I have before, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I actively seek out therapy consistently. I just broke up with mine. Like it was fine. It was mutual. But as someone who like has actually gone through counseling, therapy, even seen a psychiatrist, like you can't fix a lot of mental health in a 60-second video. No matter how many of those you're watching, like, times that by 30, it's like, okay, but that doesn't equal counseling. Like there is a science behind how people get into your brain, how they identify your habits, how they like learn patterns in your speech, like how they address trauma. Like, so please, if you're listening, go find
a therapist.
Yeah. And like therapy isn't bad. Obviously, like I am such a better person for pursuing counseling and therapy throughout my years of life. And like my mom and my sister, I tell them all the time, like, please go to therapy.
For sure.
Like we can only be better humans and our life is so short that like I would rather live my life healthily and in tune with what's going on and like working through my shit than avoiding it and being all like messed up and sad and depressed and whatever.
See, my therapist was pretty cool. She uses I don't know if there's a word for it, but she has her pet in there with her to supplement.
Like a support animal.
And she had like a long-haired shepherd. So I was like, she was really cool. She's like, I just like pet the dog the whole time. Talk about my woes as a sophomore in college, which was,
oh my God, yes. Support animals are huge on college campuses. Most college counseling offices like have like support animals and stuff. It's great.
I definitely do not regret finding a professional because I was in a place.
Also, like if you're in college, go to counseling. You get free counseling and therapy all 4 years of college.
Exactly.
It is the cheapest it will ever be. And it's probably when you need it the most because you're coming out of adolescence. You're kind of discovering independence. You're probably freaking out about your career and what's next. Like that is such an important time to pursue counseling. Oh my God, yes. If you're in college, go find your counseling center immediately.
And I even hate to take it even to like a darker tangent for a split second.
No,
but
it's
like
okay.
App State is like around finals time, App State has deaths. Like it's like, and even while I was there, it's just like, oh my God, you guys, like I and it's never to like, and like I say like I don't understand. It's like, but it's never to. I never say that in a sense like to downgrade, but it's like please talk to somebody. Like especially in a lot of the times it's a freshman, and it's like
I was just
starting. Like
freshmen people don't give enough education and awareness around how hard transition from high school to college, especially if you're moving out of state or into another place. Like when I worked in higher ed for like 12 years on college campuses. So like I've had multiple freshmen that I've worked with where I've recruited. I've like built a relationship with them, like met their family, and then they move on to campus, and like halfway through the semester, they're like, I can't do this. Like I can't leave my room. I'm too sad. I'm like crying all the time. I can't make friends. And I'm just like, and I literally say, all right, we're getting coffee on campus and I'm going to walk you and I'm going to introduce you to X, Y, or Z counselor. Yeah. And I would always make sure that I'm like, before you do anything, before you withdraw, before you like call mom, before whatever, like talk to these people. Cause it's not meant to be easy. Like very few people have an actual like flawless transition to college.
Right. Mine was horrible.
Very few. Even the most extrovert, like I am the most social person on earth. And I remember like not knowing, I transferred. So I started at a community college and then transferred into a like large university. So I'd even had like a taste of college. But when I transferred to my university, I was like, this is different. And I don't know how to make friends. And everybody's already kind of established with their groups. Like, where do I fit in? And never have I ever had to ask myself that. So I was like, who am I? Going through this like identity crisis. But yeah, it's so helpful. And I know, I wish more people were not afraid to just go talk to somebody for
Absolutely.
Sure.
And you talked about you were in higher education for about 12 years?
Yeah, since 2011. Yeah.
So talk a little bit more about your background. What were you doing prior to your Hygge life?
Yeah, so I worked in college admissions. I dabbled a little bit in nonprofit, but college admissions is like where I've spent the 10 year of my career. It's what I've really, really loved. High school students for me they're entertaining. They're not intimidating.
For good or bad, for good or bad reasons.
They can be great entertainment and like very annoying entertaining. But no, I worked at Queen's University of Charlotte as director of admissions, and then I moved over into like a consulting role where I was helping multiple universities with their enrollment strategies. So like email campaigns, search pieces. If nobody already knew this, when you take the SAT or the ACT, you're actually giving permission for college and universities to buy your name. They purchase your name for a small fee of around 44 cents. And schools can essentially get your information, and then they will start mailing students things based on a school can buy a name based on gender, geographical location, scores, GPA, ethnicity, you name it. And so I would help universities figure out what their enrollment goals were and what names they needed to purchase from those tests. But that wasn't really my cup of tea. So I briefly did that. And then I ended up getting a job at the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. And I was a regional recruiter here in Charlotte and helped recruit students from the Carolinas who wanted to go to school at UA.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, if we could backtrack for just a second to the name buying part.
Yes. I know people are always like, what?
So now, without tapping into my conspiracy side, so is the point of purchasing a name so that they can legally send you stuff or legally contact you, or what's the technical purpose of purchasing a name?
Yeah, it's to get access to students that might have not already been pursuing that university. So let's say I'll use Alabama for an example. A lot of people already know Alabama. Maybe this isn't a good example, but let's say students out in Chicago.
Sure.
Right? They might not think of Alabama as a top option for their schools because geographically and we're in, it's the Southeast, yada, yada. So Alabama would say, you know what, we really want to focus in on getting more out of state students from the Midwest. We're going to purchase names from students who live in the Chicago metro area, who scored at least X on their ACT, who show I don't know, these types of ethnicities or these types of genders who maybe want to do this major. Alabama's a big engineering school, big business school, big media school. So they can focus in on that. So it's really just to start the conversation with the student. But in order to do that, you need their contact information. And the only way to get that is to buy the name from the test.
Gotcha. Okay. So before they buy it, they have no more information on you besides your name.
They might not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
Just had to clear that up a little bit.
And then for any parents or students who are listening and freaking out, you can always, if you start getting mail from schools that you've never heard of, that's why. They probably purchased your name, or it's a school that wants you. You fit a criteria of some capacity. And so I always tell students, at least take it in and look at them, even if it's a school that you've never heard of, because it might be an option that you never considered, but that might be a really good fit for you. And then in the same regard, if you know that one of the schools is definitely not going to be on your list, just opt out. Call it a day.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know someone's
also, I hate
that.
standardized tests. That's a whole other
we could, but
they're not equitable.
We're only here for so long today.
The end. Yeah.
I know someone's going to hear that story and cling on to the fact that only 47 cents. My name's only worth 47 cents. I'm worth so much more than 40
schools
cents.
will drop $1 million because they buy thousands of names. So
fair enough.
It's a decent purchase.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now were you regional recruiter part-time?
Full-time.
Full-time.
And I was remote, which is how I found Hygge.
Okay, yes.
So
yes.
that when I got the job at Alabama, it was the first time ever. It was 2016 when they're like, yeah, this is a remote job. I'm like, wait, what? I've never worked remote.
Yeah.
And so I tried working from home for a second, and I was like, nope. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
So I found Hygge. I toured when there was only one location. It was just the Hill Street, Westmere. Westmere. They just changed the name of the street.
That's
yes.
Okay,
the city of Charlotte officially has named that Westmere Avenue.
Gotcha. Yep. Nice. So much better name.
Yeah. So I toured Westmere, and so funny. I didn't know this at the time because I was ignorant, but I really was yeah, let me know. I want to be a flex member here. I live, in Elizabeth. Blah. And Garrett's well, we have a waiting list for the flex members. So if you are cool with it, I'd like to get you at our newest location, which is Remount Road.
Yeah.
it's opening, December 1. And I was like, okay, well, like, let me know if, I get off the waiting list, knowing full and well, he was like just trying to push me to that location.
Uh-huh.
And so I started there on December 1, like the very first day it had opened. And I like never looked back. That was like the freaking best place ever. We had the best Flex members. Like there's great Hygge members everywhere, but West just like, I don't know. It had this like camaraderie of people. And we just kind of like took care of each other. We were really good friends. And I mean, fast forward 5 years.
Yeah.
I just joined the team full time because I just can't get enough, apparently.
There's definitely a Hygge vibe.
Totally.
For sure. Like first time going in, getting my TayFlo training from my podcastness. Going into there the first time, because I don't think I had known about Hygge for more than a week before I signed up for a quick training session. And walking in there, I'm like, it feels almost like you're walking into like an apartment complex or like a dormitory at a college.
It's like locked up.
People like feel like they live here. Like I feel like I'm walking in someone's house. Like especially when you like get into the kitchen, there are like signs like please clean out your coffee,
wash your dishes,
don't touch your food if it's not your food, don't touch the condiments if you didn't bring the condiments in. I'm like, okay, well, this is a vibe. Okay. And I've never looked back either. I've been really wishy-washy with my involvement in the past couple of years, which I hate. But that's I'm consistent now.
Yeah.
I'm in everyone's business now, for the better or worse of it all. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So moving it a bit more, what's it called? Business news.
More
Morning Brew.
news.
So I didn't know this was happening, but Discovery and Warner Media have merged into like a mega company essentially. So Warner Brothers, it holds iconic control over brands like Batman, Harry Potter, CNN, other DC platforms as well. Discovery has Property Brothers, and they've actually completed their mega merger, which is a $43 billion transaction. Apparently they are asked permission for it in May of last year, and they got approval February of this year. But I had no idea that was a thing. That's crazy control, I feel like, over a market. Yeah. For those two to like get into power.
I thought Warner Brothers was already so huge that then they added Discovery Channel to that too.
It's like it's also like another Disney, Marvel, Lucas. What else does Disney have? Disney has a lot of stuff I wasn't aware that Disney had. Yeah. Like I didn't realize they owned like half of ESPN. Yeah. That doesn't seem like a Disney thing to me. And Nat Geo as well, because you get that bundle with Hulu. I don't think they own Hulu, but there's that weird bundle. If you go for like Disney Plus or Nat Geo, you can get all three at the same time.
I don't know.
Maybe they do own Hulu. I've got zero clue. All I know is that bundle does not come with Hulu without the ads, so I'm not about that. So I pay for them separately because I do not. I will finish half my food if I turn on a Hulu show with ads before the show begins, and I'm not about that life. Yeah. I need to like be in the middle of a story when I'm eating my food.
Wait, is it saying who owns HBO then?
So let's see. Although the deal will weigh Discovery down with $55 billion in debt, CEO David, I'm going to butcher this last name, Zaslav thinks ankle weights only make you stronger. This is not Naruto.
See how at the bottom it says HBO won't be adding new pricey. Oh, maybe it's to like keep up with the fact that they've merged. No.
I was gonna say because I thought I'd already seen Euphoria on there because my brother just got HBO recently, and I've been using that to binge my Harry Potter for sure. But I thought Euphoria was already on there.
It is. It's saying that it's just saying it's like sufficient enough for what's already on HBO.
Gotcha. Yeah. Crazy money out there. Must be nice to have that much just to throw down for a mega merger, people. Right. Now, this one I thought was funny. So when a self-driven car gets pulled over.
Oh, what?
Yeah, so an incident in San Francisco shows what happens when an autonomous vehicle gets pulled over by police. So when a headlight is out, a cop pulls over your car and approaches the window. A video posted this weekend gives us some answers. On April 1st, a Chevy Bolt operated by the autonomous driving company Cruise was pulled over in San Francisco. The police officer peeked inside the car and saw that no one was in the car, fled the scene, and parked again the next block over.
Wait, is this an April Fool's joke?
Oh my God, I hope not.
It says on April 1st. So I have to assume this isn't real, right?
In response to the video, Cruz said that the car followed the game plan. Our AV yielded to the police vehicle, then pulled over to the nearest safe location as intended. Even better, the robot driver got away without a citation. Oh my God.
I hope that's an April Fool's joke and not reality.
Part of me does too. At the same time, it's like, no, that's definitely sounds American.
I mean, it didn't come out on the 1st, so maybe it just...
the 10th. It came out on the 10th.
So maybe it is real.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Big picture. Scenarios like this are going to become a lot more common for San Franciscans. Cruise opened up a small-scale autonomous robo-taxi service on February 1st, and Alphabet's Waymo began offering San Francisco residents nighttime rides a few weeks ago. That's so funny. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
My niece is trying to FaceTime me right now. She's like, I'm not going to answer, obviously.
Oh, you're good.
I just want to look at her face.
Oh man, but I can't imagine being the cop.
I don't think I would get into a taxi with no driver.
Yeah, see, I'm even like watching these videos on TikTok or Instagram with people in the car and they're like setting the car to auto or whatever the setting is called for the self-drive. I'm just like, that's cool and everything, but I don't think I would go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, because they're still in the driver's seat, they're just going to fall asleep and trust the car.
I would be like gripping everything because you just never know. And it's like, who do you talk to? How do you get affirmation?
Right.
Like, does it... I would love if somebody's ridden one of these. Like, does it give you updates? Like, you know how you ride like a streetcar or a train?
Yeah.
It's like, next stop is blah, blah, blah. Like,
right.
Does the car do that?
See, I know some cars nowadays have like the technology where they tell you if you're leaving a lane, but that's for a person driving the car and they're not noticing.
It's just like a beep too.
It's so, I guess the car that's supposed to be autonomous should know better than to do that.
Yeah.
Unless they're coming up on a turn and they need to move over. But yeah, I feel like if you trust too heavily into that, it's going to be like something that not even Final Destination has tried out yet. That'll be a new scene for like the next Final Destination movie that I don't want to watch.
I would assume too that like cops would get familiarized with like the branding. Like, wouldn't you know to not pull over, or like how do you treat these cars that have the Cruise logo on it? Like, you know, nobody's going to be in there.
Well, I would also like to know how the car. The headlight was out. I thought it ran a light. The headlight was out. Okay, so yeah, I suppose you would. Hopefully, there are sensors that will like let Cruise know, hey, this car has something that needs to be looked at.
So
it doesn't flee the scene in the future and almost get shot at by cops. That would be crazy. So crazy.
Jeez.
So talk about when you were finally, and I say finally because this should have happened a while ago, but finally proposed to become a full-time with La Hygge people. Yeah.
So I had left college admissions earlier 2021 and got a job at a Fortune 100 doing corporate university recruitment. It was great at first because I was making more money and like it was a arena that I hadn't really dabbled in, but was like enough of what I thought I knew.
Yeah.
But it got really bad really fast. And I just realized the company that I had aligned myself with, it just like the role wasn't right for me. Like company culture was not what I was looking for. Like it was just like stressing me the hell out. And I just like, this isn't worth it. So I was looking for other jobs, and Garrett, good old Garrett, he is the owner of Hygge Coworking. He, approached me and was like, yo, like as your friend, I hate seeing you like this. As a business owner, I might could use you. Like, let's talk. And so we, at first I was like, what? Like, this isn't real. Are you sure? Like, what? But yeah, the more we like kind of entertained the idea and like dreamt up like what this could look like, it kept making more sense. And, I felt in my gut that this would be a really cool and unique opportunity, something that like I've always thought about and even teased sometimes, but it just never came to fruition. So when it became a reality, I was like, I have to say yes. I have to see what this looks like. I think it would be a really good fit, and that has 100% proven true, you know?
Now, moving into a company, you've been in companies that have been established,
Yeah.
that have been what they are for a while.
Yeah.
Moving into a company like Hygge, which is, I wouldn't say a startup anymore. It's moved quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think it's still working on full establishment or self-establishment. What concerns did you have?
I think just getting my head out of the reliance of like, you know, when you onboard a new job, you have this like giant HR department that like is feeding you all this information, and you're doing all these like portal things and filling out all these paperwork and like electing into all these benefits. And, you know, I didn't know what, I knew that Hygge offered like benefits, the end, but that was it. So like, I remember having, I wouldn't say concerns, but just like anxious thoughts of what will this feel like when none of this is here? And like, I'm so used to just checking off all these like boxes and like even the last job that I onboarded before Hygge, I mean, I was doing like background check, drug tests, like the whole, I had to show up my passport. Like it was like a big freaking to do. And then with Hygge, it was just like a very simple onboarding. So I think just me being able to let go of like the habitual like onboarding that I've experienced since I've graduated college, like that was weird and an adjustment and a shift. But, you know, Garrett, I think, has done a really good job of reminding me, like, I know this brand, I know this company, I know this team, like I know the product. I just need to switch gears from being a like paying member to like now I'm an employee. And so like I've only for the last 5 years sat in this space as a member that is paid by a larger company. So like in my brain, when I'm in this building, it's almost like hard to get out of the habit of like, I've been functioning as a remote worker in Hygge. Yeah. And now I'm a Hygge employee in Hygge.
You're a Hygge boss lady. Yes.
Right. And so it's just weird. Like sometimes I'll like have deja vus of me like, and I'm like, wait, I'm not working for that company anymore. Like I work here. you know, it's just like weird. Cause you know, before I chose to come to Hygge. Right. And now I'm like, now I am here and I this is where I will always show up to work. So yeah, it's just kind of getting out of old habits and old corporate BS.
Which sounds lovely.
It honestly is so great.
It'd be great. And the best part is like denim is an option for your wear every day. Correct. God, I miss it so much. I've had to wear dress pants and at least a polo every day of work for the past 4 or 5 years.
Forever and ever, yeah.
It's too long. It's too long. When I was in radio, the one good thing about that job that I had in radio was that I was not there to impress nobody visually at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yep.
Granted, I wasn't even servicing Charlotte. I was servicing Raleigh from Charlotte.
Yeah.
But like I would come in there with like some tatted, ratty looking t-shirt and some really baggy, like almost like big poofy Arabian pants looking sweatpants. And I bumped into Bob Saget one time with that exact ensemble on because he was there for an early morning interview with Ace and TJ. I was like,
oh my God, Ace and TJ. Are they still on the radio?
They are. Ace and TJ. No, you know what? I think they were with Woody and Wilcox. But yeah, Ace and TJ, Woody Wilcox. That was iHeartMedia. Yeah. I was with them for 3 years and I was just like, what's up? And I was like, I'm trying to get my third cup of coffee. You're cool and whatnot. Have a good day. And he was on his way out anyway, so I wouldn't want to hold the man up.
It's funny, like sometimes I remember when I first started remote work, I got real lax real quick because I was coming from a job where I had to be dressed up all the time. Yeah. So in my brain, I was like you, right? Like grass is always greener. So I'm like, I'm done wearing dresses and heels. Like I'm just going to like really embrace this work from home like lifestyle. And so I was wearing nothing but like workout clothes at all times. But then now I've kind of shifted back into like, all right, I'm going to like get dressed because I think that does help me feel productive and ready for the day. Even if I knew I was going to end up like working out in the middle of the day or like, I don't know, it was going to be hot or sweaty or whatever. Yeah. I do appreciate the like in between, you know?
And I mean, when you have a boss who can at any point walk in with his brim cap, shirt and tie with a sweater, denim, but then I believe he has a pair of like croissant shoes or like sandwich shoes.
Are you talking about Garrett?
Yes.
Oh. He has baguette shoes.
Baguette shoes.
Baguette
Sorry, wrong
slippers,
bread.
yeah.
So I mean, when you got a boss like that, it's like, not super high concerns with
Follow
the
his
apparel.
lead. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I got the chance to not, and Town Square looks like from all the pictures they were showing during the interview, like denim seems to be an option.
Yeah.
So like.
Business cash, man.
If I get to the
like
point where
business
it's
cash.
like I kind of miss it, that'd be cool, but I got to get there first. So like Town Square, let's get this going.
Yeah.
Please. Now, I met you, of course, first as the podcast trainer, and you trained me like 3 years ago. So how did you get onto that? That was your part. Were you part-time technically as when you started as
Yeah, it
a
was very
trainer?
part-time.
Yeah.
I would do like 4 trainings a month.
Uh-huh.
And it really started because the studio was at the Remount Road location, and that's where I worked out of. So I was there all the time. Back then, the team was very small, the Hygge team. And so I just was like, you guys are having to be here all the time. And I don't even honestly know how the conversation got started, but I'm sure it was like, I'll do this, I'll help, or would you do this? And it just made sense. And I was like, yeah, I actually I love the idea of helping people. At that point, I was working part-time for Skill Pop, and Skill Pop had a podcasting class that was held at Hygge.
Gotcha.
So I was already in the studio after hours sometimes. And like, I think the idea of podcasting, this was well before podcasting became like a really huge thing and like everybody did it.
Yeah.
But I would like the idea of it. And so, so I started 3.5 years ago, just like letting that be the thing that I took off of the Hygge team's like plate.
Yeah.
Ish. Alyssa still handled the like bookings and stuff.
Sure,
So God
yeah.
bless her. But the trainings, at least, I was in charge of. So it just made sense when I got brought on that I would just acquire any and all things podcasting so that the team could continue to like not have to deal with it.
And so then your transition into head of programs,
Director of programs.
director of programming for Hygge Coworking. So what is that new horizon like? What do you see kind of on your new plate on a daily?
On a daily, I'll give you like a in a like monthly, quarterly vision, because we don't have programs every single day.
Right.
Even if, if we could, that'd be awesome, but we don't. So I will be helping with anything programming related to the studio. We're trying to build a network and like get more podcasters kind of in the same place at the same time. We also want to offer and continue to like kind of build and give opportunities to like small business owners in Charlotte who maybe want a community but don't necessarily need co-working space. So how can we connect with people like that in Charlotte without them needing like physical space in the building?
Sure.
And then other random things, like we're doing an event later this month in April for remote workers who are, maybe haven't had the chance to get to know Hygge. And so we're doing like a coffee tasting.
Ooh.
And they can get like a free day pass to come check out the space. So just little stuff like that, just trying to create more space for opportunities to engage members with programs, as well as people that are not necessarily in the co-working world yet. And then I also have a little like responsibility in partnerships. So if there's an organization or a company that we feel like is doing cool things in Charlotte, and we feel like they would be a good partner, whatever that looks like, I'm in charge of kind of like facilitating and maintaining those as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you thrown out any ideas that are, because my understanding of kind of the atmosphere within the Hygge team is like pretty much any idea is fair game and will pretty much be accepted right off the bat.
People hear it out. And I don't know if accepted, but yeah, we'll hear each other out.
Have you ever tossed out an idea without thinking about the full parameters of what that might mean to make work? And you're like, oh, wait, hold on.
Yes.
I may not have been ready to throw that one out there yet.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it?
I don't have a specific example that I feel like I would be okay sharing, but I do know that like Garrett's always asking us like, what you got?
Yeah.
Throw some questions at us, like, let's figure it out. And then he also has said before, like, rarely have we said no to things. I mean, we do obviously for this, what makes sense for the business, but, yeah, for the most part, if somebody's got an idea, we throw it out there. If it's been done, it's like, okay, cool, moving on. Or if it's like worth looking into, it's like, yeah, let's talk about it. Gotcha. It's a very open, creative team, and I freaking love it. It's so refreshing because not every work environment that I've had at least has been like that.
Now, recently, y'all brought back the 0 day at
day.
Hygge. I missed the first one because I did not fully read that Slack message, so I had no idea where it was. But I made it to the last one. I hate that I had to skip out on a couple of the talks that y'all had, but other than that, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So the Camp North End. So talk about reviving that. How long was that not a thing for?
I mean, pretty much COVID.
Whole COVID, like at least 2 years or so?
Just about. We tried to bring it back like once, and then like things kind of got bad again, like case-wise. We tried to do Zero Night a few times, which is like our big, we do it like once a year kind of thing.
Zero Night?
Yeah, so we do it
That's
at
a new
night.
one.
Yeah. We've had 2. We've tried to do more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
So if you ever see Zero Night, you got to come. But yeah, 0 day had not been what it used to be for a long time. Either like physically we just didn't have it, or when we when we did try to bring it back, it just like, I don't know, because of COVID, things just like didn't feel the same. But for the last 2, we've seen it kind of like rev up a little bit and like have like the attendance that we want.
Yeah.
And the Camp North End most recent one, which was the April one, it was really good. Like the whole point of 0 day, for anybody who isn't familiar, is the members that are, a part of Hygge get to volunteer to talk for 10 minutes about whatever the hell they want. And the idea is that the team doesn't know what they're going to talk about. And we like encourage people to talk about something other than their job.
Yeah.
Because like that's the point of coworking.
Right.
You probably already know what other people do for their job. So like, let's hear about something different.
Exactly.
And we had a really good mix of people being like very vulnerable about life stuff, about like personal matters. We had somebody like recite poetry. It was such a good mix of like happy, hard, deep, lighthearted. Like,
it was great.
It was so cool.
It was my second time ever being in Camp North, and I hadn't been there in like 4 years. My first 0 day, and it knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
It was so good. I should have gotten that breakfast quicker, but I was already so like knee deep in work by the time y'all got there, because I had to get there like an hour before the team did.
Yeah.
So that I could sit somewhere and start working early. But like, oh God, that was so good.
Yeah.
It was so great. Excuse me. Things in my throat
It's okay.
messing me up. And even Garrett got emotional, and it was great. I didn't get to fully experience the emotional Garrett. I've never met emotional Garrett before. But that's really because the yellow is a big color for Hygge, first of all. And the wall behind him was very reflective, and the sunlight coming through the skylight at that exact moment gave me like a silhouette-ish of a Garrett.
He was glowing.
And I kind of missed it. But I heard it. It was great. It was a really great moment, I think, for him. I think he wasn't expecting to turn out that day.
It was just, I think the whole team, we were like, that just felt right. Like it felt like the old days. It felt like what Hygge is at its core. And it just felt really good after so many years of like watching everything just kind of crumble. Like just having it be back felt so freaking good. We were like, yes, this is why we do this.
And one of the things that was mentioned to me recently was like, you guys had this weird over the holiday surge that you guys were not anticipating. And I thought I was being weird. I was thinking, I'm like the only one trying to talk to Alyssa right now on the 28th of December. No one else is trying to contact anybody. But then I found out y'all had this crazy surge of re-sign-ons and new sign-ons for membership, and I was like, wow, that's got to be great. Like, what did y'all think of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's anytime there's growth, it's a great thing, right? Because by no means do we ever want offices to sit empty or like there not to be like flex members, that kind of thing. So I think 2022 we were finally to a place where I think people in 2021, it was like, oh, COVID's like a little bit more manageable, but now I've like gotten my home office set up and I've gotten used to this. So like, I don't need coworking anymore. Right. That was 2021. Well, now it's like 2022. We're like 2 years into this freaking thing. And I think people are finally like, okay, F that home office. Like, I know I spent a lot of money like getting it all set up, but now I like literally don't want to be at home anymore.
Right.
And so people are coming back into that coworking kind of mindset of like, yeah, I do want to leave my house and like pay a decently priced membership to like have a place to do business. So I hope that it just keeps that trend keeps going.
Yeah, you could burn out real quickly being home too long. I got I got the sickness last year, unfortunately, right at holiday, right at Thanksgiving. And I was like, I had to be at home for like 3 weeks altogether. I was done half a weekend. I was like, get me the hell out of this place. But I can't like legally go anywhere. Not legally, but like I can't
rules.
acceptably go anywhere right now. So it's like, God, I hate this couch.
Yep.
I hate this living room. I hate my bed. I hate everything.
I always compare it. And I know that not everyone is like this. And some people like have kids at home. And so they like literally can't not work from home.
Right. Yeah.
But I just feel like even before COVID was even like a thing, my like home ownership or even renters, right? Like anything you're investing in monetarily for like life, I wanted that place to feel like home.
Right.
And the more I worked out of my house, the more I would like randomly like resent this random freaking room that I happen to like open my laptop in. And I just was like, I shouldn't want to leave my house at 5 p.m. because I'm pissed or because I've been here all day. Like I want to be able to come home and feel like this is my safe place. This is my haven. This is my happy spot. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Versus the opposite. So for me, it was a matter of like boundaries and like just the like turning your brain on and off and having that line between the two.
Gotcha.
So
makes total sense. For sure. Well, if you're prepared, I am ready to move into the final portion of today's show, which is a new addition to the show. And I'm going to take this cord out because I don't want to be broadcasting this information across the room through the big windows. That is the other part of the studio here at Hygge. And we're going to jump into some office gossip.
Okay.
If you're down for that. I've got one of my own. I've also got a couple of submissions prepared to share as well. Now, I'm going to let you decide. Do you want to hear me? Do you want to hear a submission? Or do you want to start off with anything you may have prepared to share?
I feel like I'm going to have a lot to say about all the other ones. So I'll start. I can start with one.
Okay.
I know you've heard one of my stories, but I also have another one.
Okay,
What do you recommend? Did you like my other story?
I did. But I got a feeling about the new one. I kind of want to hear the new story.
Okay. So this is less of a story and more of like kind of what your listeners submit, which is like a what should I do situation.
Right.
Okay. So this is I'm talking about somebody else, not myself, at a completely different establishment. So I'm going to be ambiguous, but I'm just going to like make that disclaimer.
Yeah.
So there is an employee who was offered like the opportunity for a promotion, and the company was like really fast about it as far as like, okay, like you're our top choice and like let's get you an interview and like let's do this.
Cool. Gotcha.
It got all the way to a verbal offer, and then I'm pretty sure it's been about 5-6 weeks since that has happened. Like, what would you do if you were this person in this situation where like there was a job that you like kind of maybe wanted, you had already gone through the like mental and emotional preparation of like, okay, I've interviewed for this. I've heard a compensation offer.
Yeah.
Like I said I was going to do it, but like now they've made you wait for X amount of weeks. Like, how would that make you feel? What would your next move be? Like, I need to know because I know what I would do.
Yeah.
But I'm curious of like what other people think of that scenario.
And to confirm though, you've already been offered the position.
Yeah.
And you've already been like told compensation.
Yeah.
And now they're making you wait for like an official start time.
Well, there's always like, I don't know how every company works, but there's verbal 6 weeks apart. That'd be like if this job that you're applying for on Friday, they give you a verbal at the end of your interview and you don't hear from them until like May.
Yeah. See, I'm not about that. I'm not about the waiting game ever. I had a similar thing where I was interviewing for a job in Alaska. This is when I was still with iHeart. And you know how it is with interviews. If it's a bad interview, they'll cut you off like after 5 minutes. And that's if you get there.
Yeah.
But I was talking to this man across the continent for 48 minutes.
Yeah.
Great interview in my book.
Yeah.
I heard nothing back for over a month. Now, I was greener then, and I was more of a pushover then.
Sure.
So I was kind of like, oh, it's normal. It's like a month or whatever.
I'll keep waiting.
Over a month. I'll keep waiting. I'll And he told me like before the end of the interview was over, he was like, give me till the weekend. So I was like, okay, cool. And he texted me, he opened the text communication with me right after, never responded.
Yeah.
And from there, I was like, okay, I'm either going to hear something from you with a specific direction or in some kind of confirmation of something in a week, or I'm going to ask you what your time frame is. And I always make that a point to ask the time frame. When do you want this person in the office to start doing this job?
Right.
And if I don't hear something back, granted, I'm probably already looking at 10 other possible positions anyway.
Sure.
But don't make me choose one of the other 10.
Well, that's the thing.
I will. Yes.
If you're in HR or you're a hiring manager, you cannot be naive to the fact that people, they're allowed to entertain other jobs, other offers, like, and usually people will ask you up front, like, are you looking at anywhere else? Is there anything that because they want to move fast.
Right.
And I've worked for HR companies before. So like I've seen this song and dance multiple times. So in my brain, I'm like, if you're checking in every single week and they're like, it's coming, like, to me, that really shows like the true character of a company. It shows me like how I'm valued as a candidate. It shows me like maybe a little bit of like true colors of like how they function as a department. And so I don't know. I'm like,
and how you may or may not be appreciated as an actual employee of them.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm not about the waiting game.
I know. Doesn't it give you bad vibes? It gives me bad vibes.
It does. Yeah. I would I don't know what else is on the plate for this person, but like
keep on looking.
Tell them Babble said, don't play that wait game. And here's the other thing, like I was unemployed for a while too. And it's like, I'm literally, I didn't tell them they were my only thing, my only prospect, but it's like, I have a life.
Right.
And bills aren't going to wait for your particular hiring period. Right. So can we get something confirmed here? Yeah. Yeah, no. Brandon, BC Babbles is not about the wait game.
Yeah.
Not about it. Not about it whatsoever. And I was actually, when I had just come on full time for my job at iHeart as a traffic anchor, and I talked about traffic. That's all I did. But right after I became full-time and I had finished all my onboarding stuff, got my insurance and all that set up to go, I heard there was a job in the programming department for a part-time programming assistant that had an actual plan to it. And I went to the guy ahead of it who was newer at the time, only presiding over his own stations. And I was like, I'm prepared to leave my full-time job right now with these benefits and this $2 an hour bump for this part-time job because this is going somewhere.
Yeah.
And he even went so far as to, in detail, list out the plan for this part-time job and how he wants to get this person to a full-time established point within a year and a half. And I'd already been there for 2 years with this one department and barely moved. And he said similar things to me, like it's coming, or he would say a project's in the way, yada, yada, yada. And he did that to me for a solid year.
Yeah, no.
Solid year.
Believe it when you see it.
And again, I was greener at the time. So push over BC Babbles then. And it was just and within that year too, he was elevated to head of programming. He was the one with the say of who's going to get a job within the department. And I'm like, you still can't give me this part-time job?
Yeah.
It's not like I'm asking to be a morning show host with one of the big stations. It's a part-time person. I'm probably not going to even talk much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do the wait game. I'm not about it.
Yeah, you got to look out for yourself and do what's best for you.
So now I'm going to ask you this. Do you want my story, which I'm nervous about, or do you want any of the 3 submissions?
Do yours. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Oh, my God. And I'm going to preface this by saying, please don't see me differently. Okay. You've heard a version of the story, but I have to admit and be correct that when I initially shot you the story, I was trying to pretend it was somebody else.
Oh.
Because I feel a little ashamed about it. But I have a legit question. So, one of my more recent positions was in hospitality, and I was a concierge. She knows where this is going. But I feel like telling you it from the proper point of view, I can give you the proper details that I could not ad-lib the last time.
I'm trying to remember what I said about.
Okay, so concierge in Uptown, and the job it was fine. I mean, hospitality is not my thing because some people up in that building, but So I eventually got fired.
Mm-hmm.
I got fired on the 24th of March of last year. Mm-hmm. My current job doesn't even know this, but
Secrets.
I've made a blog and it'll be actually airing on Wednesday. So this is like the preface for that too. So what happened was the shifts that you work as a concierge there are either from 7 a.m. to 3 or 3 to 11. And it's a straight 8-hour shift, no lunch break, no nothing.
Oh my God.
And I work the evening a lot. And again, I've been commuting from Mooresville to Charlotte for a long time.
Yeah.
And when I would work the evening shifts, typically no one needed my assistance, thank God, after like 9:30-ish.
Sure. Yeah. That makes
Because
sense.
God, if you're still having issues at that point, like call somebody else.
Right.
Because what can I possibly do for you? But so those days I was like, whenever I had downtime, I was just on social media. Because like the coffee machine had been cleaned, the floor was done, the mail's been taken care of. There are no reservations for anything that I got to take care of, whatnot. So I would either be on social media, typically TikTok, or I'd be balancing my TikTok time with my time on nefarious other platforms and apps like Grindr. And you know how people are in those apps, they don't put pictures all the time on their profiles. So it's really anonymous until like you're like, send me a picture. I want to see what you're working with.
Right.
And as it happens, and I started doing that particularly around the holidays, I think, of 2020, turns out some of the people that I was talking to, because I have my face on my profile, so people know what I look like before they start talking to me, happen to be residents of the building.
Yeah.
And the building is a hive style. I think that's what it's called. So they're not spread out among other buildings. It's one building.
Gotcha.
And that's among the 20 stories. That's where all the residents of this property live.
Right.
And I was like, oh, shit. And here's the thing. Nothing ever happened. We only had discourse over chat.
Yeah.
I don't even think any pictures were even shared at any of these points.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's kind of crazy. Now, I should have thought when I had this first revelation that I should stop doing that. And I was like, well, nothing, like, I'm not trying to do anything while I'm on the job, but I'm setting up for plans after the job. Because if I can find some fun stuff to do at like 11 o'clock in Charlotte before I go all the way back to Mooresville, I'm going to do it. So I had a couple more instances where that occurred. And it's always like they ended up being people who live there.
What are the odds?
What are the odds, right?
I mean, Charlotte's small, so.
And the building itself is next to a set of other hive-style buildings. They're all right there. So
right, so within proximity, you've got like a shit ton of people that could, right?
Yeah, so even though it's like within 300 to 700 feet, it's like that could be so many people.
Right, like how the hell are you supposed, yeah.
How am I really supposed to know until they send me the pictures and then I'm like, oh shit.
Right.
But after a while, I actually stopped doing it kind of naturally by the end of January. Funny enough, though, my boss at the time was a little, not wishy-washy, but a little oblivious sometimes on getting certain things done. And it turns out she forgot to have me take care of a particular onboarding document, which she gave me in February, which was actually the paper that legally adhered me to maintaining professional relations with coworkers and residents.
Oh.
And again, I hadn't spoken to anyone who was in that building in that context since January. So I'm thinking nothing of it. I
just sign it and call it a day?
I was like, yeah, sign, call it a day. And then March goes really well. And the day this happened, I felt great because the mail was taken care of. Everything was taken care of. It was going to be like a super smooth transition to the next concierge. And I'm like clocked out and I get called into the office. And within one solid minute, I'm fired. Ugh. Now, their cited reasonings were I'm on social media too much is like, it's an easy job.
Yeah, give me more work.
And I have downtime. And here's the thing. I had inquired for assistance because they do like events and they do like flyers and stuff. I'm like, hey, I have Canva.
Yeah.
I'll design some stuff for you. And they never threw me a bone there. So, but their other cited reason was that we found that you're in breakage of this particular thing. And I'm like, and it's like, fine, I'll accept that I shouldn't have chanced those conversations.
Sure.
But my thing is, the legality of it, though, if I hadn't spoken to anyone prior to actually being legally adhered to maintaining said relations, how legitimate really is this termination now?
Yeah, I feel like I would have appreciated if they would have had a conversation with you first.
Yeah.
Even if it was after you signed the document, like, hey, we know we gave this to you recently.
Yeah.
However, this has been brought to our attention, and like at least give you the opportunity to be like,
Exactly.
Give you a yellow card and then have you be able to correct your behavior.
Right. And like I don't know if it'd be like dock my pay for X amount of weeks or something like that, or
not
or
even
my hours.
just a strike. Like
Just a strike.
Think of people who like don't show up to work or like call out consistently. Like they're not losing their job; they're getting strikes. So like,
Right.
if there was nothing that bad, like I don't know, I feel like maybe you did deserve like a strike or a conversation, and not just like a you're fired.
Exactly. And again, in 1 minute, she had somebody from another Lincoln Property is the company, and they're like just down the block from us, and she had her on the phone because I guess she needed like a witness. Granted, she had the maintenance people in there with me, so it's like, how many more witnesses do you need? This is going to take 60 seconds. But yeah, I am willing to accept the naughtiness that I was responsible for.
Yeah.
But I feel like overall that's some bullshit.
I would
don't
be
like
frustrated.
That. Like,
yeah.
And part of me is like, I was unemployed until July of that year. So from end of March to July. So it's like, part of me is like, do I need to like try to do something to make up for those lost pennies? Because I can use those pennies right now.
Yeah.
I needed those pennies after that, what I think is a wrongful termination, but Element Uptown in Charlotte. From Lincoln Property Company.
I love that you're not. I love it.
Oh, they're hashtagging the blog that's going to be airing on Wednesday. So,
oh, wow.
Your move is all I'm saying. Okay, let's move on to something less personal.
On to the next.
Thank
you for sharing.
Thank you for not seeing me any differently.
Dude.
Well, maybe you see more of me now, but you don't care.
No judgment. I mean, we could all admit to some stuff that we've done that we're not proud of, or that it's like, oh, damn it.
We got to grow at some point.
Yeah, it's fine.
We were all somewhere at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an anonymous submission. Okay, they're saying the title for this one is Guest Blames Hotel Because Her Online Pal Stole Her Stuff.
Her online pal?
Stole her stuff.
Her stuff. Okay.
So basically, a guest checked in under her own name by herself. Then she invited a friend over. Well, he ended up stealing from her, and then he escaped when she wasn't looking, essentially, from the room. Guest calls the front desk and says that she got robbed. So, of course, they tell her to call the police. Police come with questions. They question her, and then they check the cameras to look at the alleged thief to see when and where he may have escaped. The guest checked out that day instead of the original 2 days in her reservation, so the hotel ended up charging her only for one night she stayed. Well, now this guest won't stop leaving reviews online and keeps contacting the hotel. She accused the hotel for breaking safety protocol because they didn't check her friend's ID. We told her, ma'am, we do not keep records of everyone who passes through the front door. She blames the hotel as the reason why she got robbed. Plus, she's questioning why she was charged for the one night. Well, you were there for one night. They added some quoted says. So they included some quoted phrases between their conversations. First one is, so you invited your friend to your room. She said, I met him online and I invited him. They said, you invited the person you met online inside the room? She said, yes. They said, and you opened the door to let him in? She said, yes. She absolutely got scammed by this random guy she met online, but she keeps blaming the front desk for what happened to her. Plus, she stayed for one night, so she obviously has to pay for that one night. Duh. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't understand any of this, so my work days are now spent explaining the same crap over and over to her. People are so infuriating.
Okay, wait. I follow the whole had a guest for a night concept, but where does the delivery and stealing come from?
So I guess while she wasn't looking, it's earlier in here, while she wasn't looking, after he had met up with her as she invited him.
He took something from her room?
Stole her stuff and got out of there.
Okay, she just fell victim to a
scam artist.
Tinder swindler.
Yeah.
Or whatever they're called.
But it's
that sucks, but
yeah,
it's not on the hotel. And also they're right. The only obligation that a hotel has is to check the ID of the paying person and then not give your room number to anyone. The end.
That's it. And I'll follow that up with a little bit more into my personal life. When I'm meeting somebody, I just walk right by the front desk.
Well, I mean,
I'm not there to pay.
That's what I'm
So it's
saying.
like-
and if
and-
they've already texted you their room number, like you just go right into the lobby.
Go right in.
Yeah.
And they don't have to stop you.
No.
I mean, I'm friendly and I'll say, hey, how you doing? And just like, I pretend like I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
People like really don't know where I'm
now,
going.
if it's like a,
But it's like,
a
yeah.
condo or like a high rise,
Right.
that's different
That is
because
different.
you need a fob to get into the elevator, but a
And-
hotel, usually
and if it's
not.
a particular style, like when I was a concierge, I had to know who was expecting somebody.
Right. So you
'cause
actually did have to check in as a guest.
In that case, yeah, but a hotel doesn't have that kind of,
No.
that you're not that kind of liability concern. It's
Yeah.
like whatever you do is your liability. So it's like, that sucks for sure,
yeah,
but
that's unfortunate.
it's not their fault.
I would say lesson learned, and maybe
hope.
be careful of who you invite to your room.
Let's see. This one's really quick here. Do I have to verbally tell a coworker to stop touching me, or can I act in a way where it's not welcomed and that's enough if I have to file a sexual harassment complaint later?
Okay.
Hold on, work on that wording. Hold on. Do I have to verbally tell a coworker to stop touching me, or can I act in a way where it's not welcomed? I guess like act like let them visually know it's not welcomed. And is that enough to where I can file a sexual harassment complaint later?
You definitely should say something verbally. Do not assume that someone is going to know that you don't want them to touch you just by a body language like situation. I also think I don't think touching someone inappropriately is like ever okay, but if you've told them verbally and they don't stop, then yes, that's 100% like that gives you
sure.
validation to go to HR and like file a
Yeah.
sexual harassment or something.
Yeah, because unfortunately nowadays we know that some people just don't get common sense. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just go right off the bat and report that. I wouldn't waste any time on that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Just FYI,
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to cut this out afterwards, but there's someone in the studio in 5 minutes, so we probably need to wrap it up soon. I booked it till 6:30.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Let me
Just
look
FYI.
between these two real quick. God, these two are long. Okay. Let's try to do this real quick.
Okay.
So, do I need an employment lawyer? I've been fighting return to work for some time as it's not necessary in my job, and they are only requiring junior employees to go in. So I don't feel I'll return anything new without my bosses there. You know what? We're done.
You're like, let me try.
It's the wording, people. Like I love everyone who submits. I really, really do.
You should take it upon yourself to
And you know what? I'll
summarize or something
yes, I will definitely be doing that in the future.
without changing this.
In the meantime, I think we both had really fun conversations. Thank you for so much joining me on the show, TayFlo. You are
course.
fantastic and you are awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, don't do the waiting game. We're not about that over here. I hate the waiting game.
Right.
Like you've got a life. You're trying to move on somewhere.
Shoot your
They-
shot.
Like yeah, unless
in
they
any
paying
situation.
you, they don't got really any time to waste your time. So don't do that. Also, don't do like me, but if they have you filing and documenting things out of order, take a picture of that. So you got like on your Google photos, like you had me do it this day.
Yeah.
So am I really fired, or do you want
Yeah.
to have a conversation about something else?
Do I need to call a lawyer?
Yeah. Also, no touchy.
Yes.
No touchy is not cool.
Never.
Never.
It's never okay.
But we'll see you the next time on Casual Babble.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you.